Well, this visit is incredibly important, not only for Macron himself, but also for resolving the conflict as a whole. Macron laid out what he's looking to achieve with this in an interview over the weekend, and he said that while the West needs to remain resolute in sticking to its values, they also have to understand that Russia can't just be ignored, that they have to come to some kind of understanding here to accommodate Russia's concerns. Now, Macron got a lot of flack over the weekend because of that interview, I think in particular because his tone was very different than the tone that has been used by US President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, for instance. But it should be said that, as you mentioned, Macron has been having this flurry of diplomatic calls. What he said over the weekend was very tightly coordinated with other NATO leaders, and also in its substance, it's actually not that different from what the US or the UK stance is. It's just that Macron used very different language, more conciliatory language. And I think that had some people concerned that Macron could go to Moscow and offer concessions on behalf of the West that maybe other NATO partners wouldn't agree with. So this is going to be a very, very delicate tightrope that Macron has to walk here in Moscow, because on one hand, he will be expected to assert the resolve of the West, but on the other, of course, everyone wants to see this conflict de-escalated, and everyone knows that some kind of compromise or concession here will be necessary, at least so Russian President Vladimir Putin can save face and find a political out to disarm at the Ukrainian border. Now, of course, this also comes in the context of the French presidential election, which makes this especially risky for Macron, because if he comes back from Moscow without anything tangible, if he comes back empty-handed or is seen to have been offering too much to Macron, to Putin, that is maybe later disavowed by NATO partners like the US and the UK, it could be politically damaging for him at home. So there will be a lot of eyes on this meeting, and of course also on his meetings in Kiev, where he will seek to reassure Ukraine that the West still has their back.